I never imagined I'd watch my own car speeding down the highway on live television. And certainly not with the HOA president's son at the wheel. But that's precisely what unfolded. Let me take you back to the beginning. It was a typical Saturday morning. Coffee mug in hand, I stepped out onto my porch and paused to admire the glossy black finish of my Dodge Challenger, the Black Beast. I had juggled 3 jobs to make her mine, and I'd spent the entire previous night detailing every inch. She gleamed like a showroom model straight out of a car magazine. Perfect. Then she appeared. Karen, the self-proclaimed ruler of our HOA. You know, the kind, clipboard tucked under one arm, oversized sunglasses perched on her nose, and an attitude sharp enough to cut glass. She marched straight over, arms folded tightly across her chest. You know, that car is a little excessive for our neighborhood, she said, wrinkling her nose in distaste. I just gave her a polite smile. Don't worry, Karen. It's not going anywhere. If only I had realized how ironic those words would become. Later that afternoon, I went inside to make lunch and absent-mindedly left my keys on the kitchen counter. About 15 minutes later, a familiar roar shattered the quiet. My engine, my heart lurched. I rushed to the window and stared in disbelief. The driveway was empty. The Challenger was gone. I ran outside, pulse hammering, eyes darting up and down the street. Nothing but fresh black tire marks burned into the asphalt. My neighbor Dave hurried over, phone already in his hand. Dude, your car just tore out of here like a rocket, he said. Pretty sure it was Karen's kid behind the wheel. I couldn't process it. The same kid I'd caught cutting through backyards just last week, the one Karen had defended, insisting he was only curious. My hands were already dialing 911 before I could think. Within minutes, the dispatcher confirmed the worst. A black Dodge Challenger had been reported traveling at excessive speed on the highway, weaving aggressively through traffic at over 120 miles per hour. I flipped on the television, and there it was, my car leading a growing line of flashing police cruisers, a news helicopter hovering overhead, broadcasting the entire chase live. My stomach sank. This was no longer just a theft. It had escalated into a full-scale, high-speed pursuit playing out in real time across every local channel. The reporter's voice crackled with urgency. We're receiving reports that the driver may be a local resident, possibly a minor. My phone began exploding with notifications, texts from neighbors, screenshots, direct links to live streams, and video clips. Then came the message that made everything click into horrifying focus. From Karen, we need to talk. Now, I didn't know whether to laugh hysterically or scream. My thoughts raced faster than the car itself, because deep down, I already knew her son had just made the worst decision of his young life. I sat frozen in front of the screen as my Challenger sliced through traffic like a scene from a Hollywood blockbuster. The chopper's camera zoomed in tight on the rear. My custom license plate caught the sunlight, gleaming like a mocking signature. It felt unreal. That was my car, my pride, my reward after years of hard work, and now it was the unwilling star of a police chase. The reporter's tone rose with excitement. The suspect continues to evade. Multiple patrol units are in pursuit. The driver appears to be a teenager. That was when the reality slammed home. Karen's son, Tyler, was only 17. He'd barely passed his driving test a few months earlier. The footage cut to a new angle. He was darting between cars, narrowly avoiding collisions, veering into the emergency lane. Sirens wailed from every direction. The Challenger's supercharged engine screamed a sound I usually found thrilling, but now it twisted like a blade in my chest. My phone rang again. Karen's name flashed on the screen. I answered, but she didn't wait for me to speak. Do something, she shrieked. Do something. Karen, your son stole my car. He didn't mean to. He's scared. Please don't press charges. I could hardly form a response. He's doing over 130 on the freeway, Karen. You really think this is still about pressing charges? Before she could answer, the live feed erupted in chaos. One of the pursuing cruisers attempted to box him in. Tyler jerked the wheel hard, clipped the patrol car's bumper, and spun wildly. For a terrifying second, the Challenger fishtailed out of control, tires smoking, before he somehow wrestled it back straight and kept going. Gasps echoed from the news studio. My hands trembled on the remote. Then came the moment that stopped my heart. The helicopter camera followed as the black Challenger suddenly veered off the highway exit ramp, heading straight into a quiet suburban neighborhood, our neighborhood. He was heading straight back toward our street. I dashed outside just in time to catch the distant wail of sirens, growing louder by the second. Neighbors poured out of their homes, phones raised, recording everything. And then I saw it, my car, streaked with dust and road grime, tearing down Maple Drive at full throttle. Tyler blew past my house so fast the gust of wind rocked me backward. Police cruisers screamed around the corner right behind him, tires howling against the pavement. The news helicopter hovered low overhead, its spotlight slicing through the late afternoon haze like a blade. Then, in a scene straight out of an action film, Tyler swerved to avoid a parked delivery van. He misjudged the gap, clipped the curb hard, and the Challenger launched into the air. It twisted mid-flight violently before crashing down, slamming into a line of trash cans and skidding sideways to a smoking halt right in front of the community park entrance. The entire street fell eerily quiet. Even the helicopter eased back, its downdraft scattering papers and debris across the grass. My dream car, my soul poured into four wheels, was a mangled wreck. And in that frozen moment, I knew this nightmare was far from over. As soon as the screeching tires fell silent, I sprinted toward the wreckage. Smoke rose in thick curls from the crumpled hood. The air reeked of scorched rubber and hot metal. Police sirens converged from every direction as officers rushed in, weapons drawn. My heart pounded in my throat when I saw Tyler's silhouette slumped over the steering wheel inside the HOA Queen's Golden Boy, now looking small and broken, step out of the vehicle, hands where we can see them. One officer barked. The driver's door groaned open. Tyler stumbled out, dazed, hands trembling violently. No blood, no obvious major injuries, thank God, but the look on his face twisted my gut. Pale skin, wide eyes, the raw shock of someone finally grasping the full weight of what he'd done. Karen came sprinting across the lawn, shoving past neighbors and officers alike. "That's my son. Don't you touch him," she screamed, voice cracking. Officers gently but firmly held her back, yet her pleas kept cutting through the chaos. "He didn't mean it. It's not his fault." I wanted to yell back, to demand why her son had been behind the wheel of my car in the first place. But something in her wild panic stopped me cold. This wasn't just a mother terrified for her child. She was hiding something deeper. Later, after Tyler had been handcuffed and placed in the back of a cruiser, I sat numb on the curb next to the wreckage. Officers were photographing the scene and collecting evidence when one approached and handed me my wallet, pulled from the glove box. "Lucky you got this back at least," he said with a sympathetic nod. I forced a weak laugh, though rage still simmered beneath the surface. Karen approached slowly, mascara running in dark streaks down her cheeks. "Please," she whispered, voice barely audible. "You can't press charges. You don't understand. He's been through so much lately." "Karen," I said quietly, "he stole my car and nearly killed half the people on the highway." She bit her lip hard. "It's not just that. Tyler's mixed up in something with some people. I tried to fix it. I told him to stay away." A chill ran through me. "What kind of people?" She glanced around nervously before leaning closer. "He owes someone money. A lot of it. He told me he just needed to borrow a car for a quick run. I didn't know it would be yours." I thought he was exaggerating, bluffing. I stared at her, stunned. So this hadn't been a teenage joyride after all. It was desperation, a reckless, panicked attempt to outrun something far uglier. As the tow truck winched the battered Challenger onto its flatbed, Karen's carefully constructed world seemed to collapse in real time. The flawless HOA president, the perfect lawns, the constant air of superiority, all of it stripped away in an instant. She wasn't the villain she'd always played. She was just another parent drowning under the weight of her son's mistakes. Still, that didn't erase the damage. My car was totaled. My sense of security was shattered. But I had no idea yet how much darker the story was about to become. 2 days later, my street still resembled a crime scene. Black tire marks scarred the asphalt, and news vans lingered at the neighborhood entrance like vultures. Every time I stepped outside, a microphone or camera swung in my direction. "Sir, are you the owner of the Challenger? Did you know the suspect? Is it true he's your HOA president's son?" I ignored them all. What was there to say? The whole country had already watched the footage on repeat. That night, sleep refused to come. The crash replayed endlessly in my head, twisting metal, blaring sirens, Tyler's terrified expression. Then, just after midnight, a soft knock sounded at my front door. I opened it to find Karen standing there, clutching a plain white envelope. She looked nothing like the woman who used to scold me over mailbox heights. Her voice shook. "They're charging him," she said. "Grand theft, reckless endangerment, evading police. They might try him as an adult." I nodded, saying nothing. She held out the envelope. Inside was a cashier's check enough to cover the damage, maybe even buy a replacement. "I sold the house," she whispered. "It's the least I can do." Part of me wanted to lash out, to remind her of every condescending lecture she'd ever given the neighborhood. But looking at her hollow-eyed and broken, couldn't. I simply said, "I hope you both find some peace." She turned to go, then paused. "You should know," she added softly. "Tyler wasn't trying to run forever. He was trying to get to the police station. He thought if he could just reach it, he'd be safe from the people he owed. That's why he panicked when they started following the chase. It was never really about you. It was about them." Her words landed like a fist to the chest. The entire high-speed pursuit, the destruction, the terror, it had all been a scared kid's desperate, last-ditch plea for protection. After she left, I sat staring at the check on my kitchen table. Money couldn't undo the trauma, not truly, but it could help rebuild. A few weeks later, I bought another Challenger, same model, same deep black paint. This one carried a different kind of pride, though. It wasn't just a car anymore. It was proof of resilience, a quiet symbol of forgiveness, and a reminder of the secrets and chaos that can hide behind the most ordinary suburban doors. Sometimes I still drive past the spot where the old one crashed. The skid marks have faded, but there's still visible faint scars that time hasn't completely erased. And every time I hear a powerful engine roar in the distance, I remember that day. The day a stolen car turned our quiet neighborhood upside down. Yo, if you made it all the way to the end, you're a real one. Drop a like, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments, was Karen worse, or was her son the real problem? I read every single take. You guys leave.